So today, we're going to go over a lot of information about the college process that we are implementing here at Anne Frank. I want to start by framing what we are attempting to do. I am fully aware that many of you are probably, well, let me ask the question actually. Have all of you been at Anne Frank at least since 9th grade? Okay, so you have seen, no doubt, a lot of changes throughout the years. This year is no exception. As your new counselor, I am coming in with the expectation that we are truly going to build a college-going culture here. And so eventually, and this starts with your class, what will happen is there are going to be a lot more expectations for you to do things via our Naviance system. So whether a student decides they don't want to go to college, they want to go to a community college, or they're interested in the military, every student will be expected to apply to a minimum of 2 schools. My goal, my objective is to ensure that students leave with options. If we eliminate options at this point, we're doing you more of a disservice than we are doing you a service. And so I am not one who pushes just college, right? If there is a true, genuine interest at the end of the day for something that is alternative to college, we will explore that together as a family. But explore that together as a family, we will, right? So that will be a process that we will go through starting in the springtime. The reason I'm doing this meeting in the fall for you all is because I will be giving you all some tasks that I expect you to sort of follow throughout the fall season. And then we will come back together in the spring and have a robust time preparing for the college process, okay? So just to sort of frame how we're gonna proceed this evening. We'll be referencing some materials from your folder throughout the night, so I'll let you know when to pull something out. Obviously, you all have a copy of the presentation, which I'll have up here as well, so that you can also reference the presentation in case you want as well. Any questions before we start? I usually like to ask any emotional outbursts. How are you feeling? Everybody's great. Thank you for being here. Great, that's the counselor in me. Okay, so in your folders, there is a timeline for the junior year. If you can pull that out, we're gonna reference that for a quick second. And as I mentioned, there are some things that I want you all to be mindful of this fall. And when we come back in the springtime, we're gonna be working very closely together. So those activities, starting last month to December, we expect you guys to attend, as you did today, any meetings with college representatives. I'll send out information as I get them from colleges. Tonight, you guys are going to get access to your Naviance accounts. So the benefit of that, and I'll show you when we get into Naviance, is that once colleges register to come and visit with us, whether in person or virtually, you can go right into Naviance and register for that event directly. You don't even have to come to me. And I'm also going to show you another really cool feature that for schools that are not registering to come to our campus but have events, you have access to their events as well. So you're going to have a lot of resources after you leave here tonight. So I expect you as juniors to attend as many college visits as possible starting now. It does not hurt to do those virtually. It does not hurt to go online and look at their videos. If you can, and I am not dictating this, absolutely not in COVID, if you can take a drive-by visit, there is something special about being on a campus that will sell you more than looking at it on the brochures. I have seen a lot of disappointed students go to a school that they thought was great on the brochure, but didn't really fit them in real life. And so again, who knows what's going to happen in 6 months? Who knows what's going to happen in a year? We just need to be prepared for the eventualities. And I want you all to be as prepared as possible. So with that, we want you to attend any financial aid or college nights that we have here. I will be hosting one specifically for the seniors that I will CC the juniors to as well. You are welcome to attend that. It's probably going to be the same information you'll get later. Obviously, it will be more targeted and urgent for the seniors, but it's information that you might want to hear as well. Now, for these nights, it won't be me talking. I'm going to try to get professionals to come out and actually address the FAFSA, the CSS profile, scholarships, things of the sort, loans, and going through that process. And I know that there are a lot of questions typically parents have, so I want to make sure you get your questions answered. And then in December, What I expect students to do is to start test prepping. So next week, many of you know we have the PSAT here that we're administering here. I hope many of you, if not all of you, have registered for that free test. If not, don't break my heart tonight. Let me know that you're going to register. Let me know and I can get you on that list. And we can make sure that you get that test taken care of. The PSAT is the practice SAT. The SAT or the ACT often are requirements for college entrance. Gotta take it. I don't believe in it, but it's not about Jeffrey. It's about what colleges want, right? So you gotta do it. So we want you to make sure that you guys are prepping for the actual ACT and SAT. Now, my goal, as you'll see in the timeline, is that after the PSAT next week, juniors need to start prepping for the ACT. We're gonna do our best to offer the ACT in the spring, specifically for our juniors. Okay, so start prepping for the ACT. Early summer, I'm gonna expect you guys to register for early summer, that's gonna turn off on me, I can see it. Register for an early, I'm gonna turn it off now so I can conserve it for the video. Train of thought. Register for an early SAT, which I'm not gonna really require, but I think it would be great for you to take. The reason for that is when you come back in the fall, we're gonna sit down in our one-on-one, we're gonna look at all of your scores, and I'm gonna make a recommendation based on what we see trends in your scores. Whether or not to focus on the ACT one more time or the SAT one more time. I want you guys to leave here today understanding my philosophy as your counselor, just as much as I want you to understand our process. I am not a believer in taking these tests 5 or 6 times. I honestly think it's a waste of money and a waste of time. And you don't actually improve that much more time after time. I recommend taking it up to 2 or 3 times, right? So we're taking the ACT and the SAT for juniors so that we can compare scores and determine what you will take in the fall. And that test will be in October. And then invariably, we'll decide between your ACT and your best ACT or SAT score to send to colleges. Did I lose anyone?
You said October, you're going to be doing...
Of the senior year. You'll take 1 more test. And that test will be determined based on you, so what you've done over the course of these 3 tests that I just talked about. We're all good? Okay. So when we get back in January, we're going to hit the ground running, guys. We are going to assign you to college advisories, which will likely be run by me this first year, because I want to make sure it's done right. We will meet regularly. That probably means once a week, where we will discuss everything from soup to nuts, right? So we're going to talk about what does the college application look like. We're going to talk about your recommendation letters. We're going to talk about the college applications. We're going to talk about putting schools on your Naviance account, the research process. We're going to be giving you a lot of assignments in Naviance. So I will be working hand in hand with you, students and families. So this will be a family process. We will meet. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to wait until your senior year or if I'll do this next spring, one-on-one as a family. So you'll get about 15 minutes with me to go through transcript as well as college applications. The seniors got that from me now. You guys will be getting that from me probably in the springtime so that we can truly prepare. Okay? And as you see here, I'm going to ask you again to register for that. So we might as well just say ACT because that's what we'll probably offer here. So all juniors should plan to take the ACT. We're going to start your personal essay around March. We're going to get that personal essay polished. And you'll see tonight that your personal essay is one of the most important pieces of your application. So we want to make sure students are not just turning in something that is half-hearted. That is one of your selling points. We want to make sure that you market yourselves well. And then around May, as school wraps up, we're going to finish polishing that personal statement. We'd encourage you to plan some college visits. And then you're going to get us an assignment in Naviance to complete the junior questionnaire. And that will be reviewed upon your return in the fall of your senior year. And that will make more sense towards the end of the springtime. Any questions about timeline? Okay. And like I said, feel free to stop me. As I mentioned, you guys are going to get some assignments throughout the fall that I'm going to push out through Naviance, just so that you hear them now and you can look forward to them. There are 4 main assignments that you guys are going to get from me. There's a This Is Me exploration. that you guys are going to do. There is a college search where you're going to practice using SuperMatch, a virtual college scavenger hunt, which should be pretty fun. And then lastly, you've got to do some junior year goal planning. So that's going to all happen during this fall. And I'm going to push those out. You're going to see them in your Naviance profile. I'll email you and let you know what those deadlines are. Please, 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 juniors, do not give me more gray hairs. Check your school email regularly. If you're not checking your email, you're going to miss a deadline. And one thing you're going to learn about Jeff is the military family in him is going to come out very quickly. I'm often inflexible when it comes to deadlines. Why? Because colleges are inflexible when it comes to deadlines. You cannot cry to a college and say, please accept this application the week after that deadline. Maybe you might get a nice person, but it's not going to look good for your application. So my deadlines help you meet their deadlines. I need you guys to check your emails regularly throughout this year and next year. Please? Can we agree? Juniors? Awesome, okay. And you're gonna get a lot of information from me. You might even hate me after this, and that's okay. At least you'll get to college, okay? I don't care if you hate me. All right, so the other things on the list, which you don't see here, but in your agenda here, in terms of the full college process. So near your senior year, you're gonna need to contact me more often, right? There's gonna be things that are due. You may decide to apply to a college early decision or early action. You might be applying to special programs. You need recommendations written. All of these things are gonna get really crazy. I don't wanna be surprised coming into your senior year. So part of the alleviating that surprise is the work that we do in the springtime. So one of the conversations we're gonna have early on is your college search. If you're thinking about applying to a spur early decision, I need to know that by the end of this year. Now, we'll talk about early decision and what that means, okay? Because that is a special process. That requires applications being turned in earlier, usually around October. Now, if you can imagine, school starts mid-August, we've got a whole bunch of things happening. I don't want to wait last minute to get your recommendation started, okay? We want to make sure that you get everything done in a timely manner. Sending scores for you guys, transcripts, and recommendation letters are all going to be done for you via Naviance. You are not going to have to do this process that seniors are doing, which is causing them a great headache. We are saving you time and energy with this Naviance system. We will be able to send all of those things at one click of a button via Naviance. I will only be able to do that if you do your part, which is put your colleges into Naviance so that we know who you're applying to, okay? And lastly, we're going to talk a lot about financial aid. So let's get to what we came here for, which is to talk about Naviance. When you guys came in, each of you were able to get your cards, right?
When you initially access Naviance, you'll access Naviance through the link student.naviance.com/Anne Frank. If for any reason you're directed to an error page, it's just fine. Just type in Anne Frank Inspire Academy and it will take you to this page, which is our unique entrance to our Naviance profiles. So for the very first time you will log in, you will need to click this button right down here, which says I'm new and need to register. Once you do that, you'll be taken to the screen. By now, you should have received a unique access code or registration code from me. If you have not, please feel free to come by and see me to gain access to that registration code. Enter that code, hit register. It will take you through a series of steps in order for you to get your account fully registered. Bear in mind that parents and students will have their own unique code, so please do not use the other code to access the account. And again, parents will only be able to access their student profiles to view. They will not be able to do anything within those student profiles. So today we're going to go ahead and go in through the student profile. You'll log in with the email and password that you set at registration. Once you log in, you will see this home screen. I'm going to go over a few key features, and then we'll sort of dive in a little bit more with the college search, the scholarships, and career exploration. So, of course, you'll see your name up here. There's always an area to search for colleges everywhere you go in Naviance. Of course, this is the primary function is for you to be able to search for colleges. There will be a welcome message here, so any news that I need to push out to you all, you'll find it here. Your favorites, which we'll come back to in a little bit. Any assignments that are assigned to you and assignments that you assign to yourself will show over here. And this is a pretty cool feature here where you will see anything new that's coming out from the college office, including what you see here are college events. These college visits are available to any of our students. Registration is free. All you have to do through your Naviance account is hit register, and that will indicate that you will be attending that event. You must RSVP for these events. And if you intend to go, especially for those virtual events, you must register in order to get the link. So that will show you, and we'll show you how to get to this page in a little bit as well. So we're going to go back home. Now, the very first feature that I want to take you to is this colleges tab up here. This is where you'll be doing the vast majority of your college research. Under the tab Find Your Fit is where we'll begin that exploration. Just if I could briefly go through each of these various tabs, SuperMatch is likely where you'll spend most of your time initially. College Match are colleges that have matched to you based on information that you have given Naviance, including through a lot of your personal inventories. College Events, which we'll look at. Scattergrams is going to be a really neat feature which will allow students to see historically how students at Anne Frank have fared at various institutions. So if we had 20 students apply to a particular school over time, students will be able to see the average SAT, ACT score, GPA of students accepted at that school. Advanced College Search and College Lookup are features that you could use. They're a little more simple tools just to look up a college on the go that you can do really quickly if you needed to. So as I mentioned, the first thing we'll look at here in depth is SuperMatch, which is a tool that will allow you to sort of filter for schools that will match criteria that you are specifically looking for. So for those of you who've thought about or have completed your junior questionnaire or college questionnaire, can input that information directly up here in your fit criteria. You will start with location and begin to input information about where it is that you are interested in looking at schools. You will just simply click whatever your interests are in each of these categories, hit the next tab, continue doing the same thing there. Okay, you'll hit the next tab. You'll look for any admission information that you want to put in there, information that pertains to you. Continue to hit next, so forth and so forth until you get to the very end. Organizations, Greek life, anything in terms of student life you're interested in. Bear in mind as you're inputting this information, folks, that the more specific you are, the fewer school options, obviously, that will populate. So you'll really want to think about what are those criteria that are most important to you and ensure that those are listed. And if there are negotiable things that you are looking for in schools, I would recommend you not put that information in the system so that you're able to get as many options as possible. So after you've done that and you've clicked close, you can scroll down, and what you will begin to see now are a listing of schools that match your criteria. And you'll notice this fit score. This score is based on any number of criteria that you have put in the fit criteria above. And this will actually break down to you what exactly matches with your criteria in this particular school. So in this case, Oberlin College met 100% of my criteria. This is a school that I will probably want to favorite. And I can do so by hitting the button here, and this is what it looks like when it's not favorited. Same thing I can do if I want to compare schools. As you can see, I have some schools pinned. I can pin those for comparison. So say I wanted to pin Rice as well. I can pin that. Now you will only be able to see up to 4 schools side by side at a time. And I can go down here and look at those schools. And I can, of course, if I want to move them over, I can do so just by switching right there. If I am in this view and I see a school I really like that I haven't already favorited, I can favorite that simply by clicking that or unpin it by clicking that. And you'll notice the next school in my list will then pre-populate on that list. And this is a good way of just comparing schools at a glance to remove those that might not necessarily meet a specific criteria. So this is where I really traditionally would like students to start. If you are interested at this point in really highlighting or looking at a school more specifically, you can click that school or any school. And within that school's profile, you will be able to see anything and everything from their overview to their course of studies, all sorts of stats, student life information, admissions information, costs, and any spotlights in that particular school that they're highlighting. In many cases, you'll be able to apply directly online. You can do a virtual tour and communicate with admissions reps from that school via your Naviance profile. We will go back to the home page. And again, go back to Find Your Fit, where your college tools are. I want to highlight one other thing in this list, which is college events. So as I mentioned before, there were events that schools are registering to come and see you directly. This tab is a little different. If there is a school that is not represented in those who are coming to visit us this fall or in the spring, and you want to visit them, you can come to this page, put any kind of search criteria or leave it alone, and just look at all of the colleges that currently have virtual or in-person events. All of our students are eligible to participate in these events, as long as it meets, date and time criteria for you. This is outside of Anne Frank, so this is open to students who have Naviance nationwide. So our students will have access to those events as well. We're going to switch over now to research colleges, where you will find those college visits that I told you about. So again, if I go back, research colleges, college visits, this is where you'll find all of the colleges that have registered to come and see our students specifically. Many of these right now are virtual visits, but these will get updated as colleges register with us over the course of the semester. We're going to go back to Find Your Fit, and this time we're going to look up, not Find Your Fit, we're going to look up scholarships and money. Here is where all students will find scholarship information at Anne Frank. I will not house scholarship information on any bulletin board outside. I will email scholarships that come across my desk, of course, that are special scholarships, but students who are interested in looking up scholarship information should use their Naviance account. The first thing I would highly recommend students doing is filling out the scholarship match information. In this information, it pulls from, I believe, the national scholarship profile right up here, and that is where you will go in to update that information. And that will not only qualify you for finding national scholarships, but as well as any other scholarships that we may put in the system, manually, local scholarships, and it will match those to you directly. Any applications that are live via Naviance, you'll be able to fill out via the scholarship applications lists. None are there yet, but once we have those loaded in, you'll be able to access that via that link. The last thing we'll talk about today briefly are the career sections. The same way that you can favorite a college, careers you're thinking about is the same thing you can do with careers here. Two options for you. You can do a straight career exploration if you know of a career you're thinking about, or where I would encourage many students to start is Road Trip Nation. Here, you'll be able to find a wealth of videos of folks in various industries at various intersections of their industries talking about their experience. Starting right here in Find Your Road, you'll click that button and you'll indicate interests that you have. So if I'm interested, for example, in problem solving, secondary interest might be in education, and then another might be in, say, government. It will load people who are in that specific niche of interests for you. Former Secretary of Education Arne Duncan, first person who comes up. And if I'm interested, obviously, I can click on that and hear him speak in various video excerpts about his life and career. If I'm interested in learning more in terms of themes, say, for example, I'm someone who has a lot of doubt, I can click that link right there, and see other people in their life and career who may have struggled with that same theme or who have overcome something or something of the sort. So Road Trip Nation is a great place to start there. Throughout the semester and throughout the year, students will get various different assignments from the college office. Many of them will be from my assessments, and these are where these assessments are housed, depending on what you're asked to do. So you can also not wait for that assignment to come up. If you're interested, you can come right in here and begin filling some of these out. All of this information will feed in ultimately to your college search. So that is Naviance in a nutshell. I certainly expect, especially our 9th through 12th graders, to eagerly get engaged with Naviance as soon as possible. Each grade level will be assigned assignments that are grade specific and grade appropriate as we move forward in really building out the college and career going culture here at Anne Frank. You may certainly reach out to me directly by email or by phone or by swinging by my office at any time. I look forward to working with you all and believe that this is a great first step in the direction of where we want to be.
Yeah, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about standardized testing because we talked a little bit about that earlier. Again, it's not my philosophy, but it's the way of the world. Students should consider taking standardized tests. Why am I saying that? And this is why I actually put this before I put financial aid. Even if a school is test optional, I'm going to say this 3 times because I really want you to hear me. Even if a school is test optional, even if a school is test optional, which means you do not have to submit an ACT or SAT, when a student comes in with a score, they are eligible for merit scholarships at that school. So what we want to do, right, again, is to create a college-going culture. I don't want to just send you to a school to get accepted into. I want you to be able to pay for it. My goal is so that you can start in the fall of your first freshman year without having to worry about anything but going to class. So I'm always going to recommend heavily that you guys follow the process as best you can. We can go back and forth, that's okay. You make this ultimate decision. But standardized testing, because of the nature of its importance, will open up opportunities for you that if you don't take it, you won't have, okay? So as I mentioned, our roadmap, PSAT this month, next week, ACT in the spring, early summer SAT. Come back in the fall of your senior year, we'll decide together on which test you should focus on. You have free prep available to you through Edgenuity at all times. As soon as we're done with PSAT, I'm going to go right in and put ACT prep in every junior's account. That's going to happen around November, December. Start prepping.
Some students, I don't know how many, but certainly already did the PSAT.
This is the PSAT NMSQT. PSAT 10 is different than the PSAT 11.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
This PSAT actually opens students up to the merit scholarship. This is the NMSQT test.
Okay.
So if students score high enough, it makes them eligible for the National Merit Scholarship. Now, for those of you who are testing, you received a test booklet from me that has information about that. Go and review that, because it is important. Do your best, right? It is a practice test, but if you do well enough, it puts you in that pool for the Merit Scholarship. So this one is also very important, which is why, if we had the ability to do PSAT 10, maybe I would go for it, but I like PSAT junior year, ACT, SAT, and then we decide what we do in the fall round. Because again, to take the PSAT twice, I don't really see the benefit in that. That's just me personally.
But your answer to me is that these are 2 different PSATs. The one she did isn't the one that she has to do now.
This one is specifically for the juniors. Yep. Any other questions? Good. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about financial aid. I included a packet. And we're not going to go through the whole thing, but I want you to see the various different types of financial aid that will be available, because I want you to start thinking about how we get that total price tag paid for. The very first thing that every student must do their senior year that we're going to talk about in October is the FAFSA. And this talks a lot about the FAFSA form. The FAFSA has to be filled out by the student and confirmed by a parent. It requires prior, I think it's still prior year tax returns. So parents, that's where you need to get involved. So for example, for you all, when you're applying, which will be in, what are we in, 2021. So it's 2020, 2019 tax returns are likely what you're going to need at that point. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to give you a headache, okay? One thing that I will highlight to you guys right now is this. When you do it, and I'll remind you of this next year, if you decide to pull your tax returns using the IRS data retrieval tool, many people have made this mistake. Do not change a thing. If you change one number on what pulls over from the IRS, it flags you automatically for an audit. That holds your FAFSA up to weeks. We don't want that to happen. So if you have some questions about what may be on that tax return, input it manually, okay? And I'll remind you again, as I said, next year, okay? There is no reason for you not to do this form. I'm thinking of all the possible reasons that someone could give me. It's free. It does take a little bit of time, but again, no school will give you any aid, no aid, without them having this form on file. So unless you just have the money handy, you want to make sure that you complete this. The CSS profile, many students are not aware that this exists. This is on the College Board website. I also included 2 pages in there about the CSS profile. Take a look at that as well. Read up on it. It's not for everyone, but if you qualify for this, it's very extensive, but it opens you up for additional financial aid. All right? It typically is for those who are, we'll say, income challenged, but it does open you up for a lot more opportunities for income. I'm going to warn you in advance, that is not an application you submit the night before. That one is very extensive. So you want to make sure you take your time and spend time on that application, okay? And again, I included 2 sheets in there for you about the CSS profile. So things that we'll be looking at are scholarships, grants mostly. We'll try to stay away from the loans, but we'll talk about loans invariably just in case that becomes an option or a route. And then of course, we'll be talking more about work study. And as I mentioned, when we have our financial aid night, I will bring in the experts. I am not a sole expert on any of this, so I don't want to mislead anyone. So I'll bring in some experts to talk to you guys about that. And then as I mentioned, merit aid. And the only thing that I want to say about that again is we want to make sure that you're getting your testing done. But we're also going to look at our schools that you apply to that have honors programs. A lot of honors programs will pay for housing, will give you stipends for travel, for food, for laptops, for technology. So we want to make sure, again, that we're going for the big bang for you guys, okay? So when you apply to schools, we're going to also be looking at schools that potentially can put you into an honors program as well. Now, I'm not forcing you, right? I just want to make, those options open up a little bit more for you. All right, on that note, I want to give you guys some words of wisdom. The first is choosing your major. Who knows what they want to do, right? I mean, I wanted to be an orchestral conductor coming out of high school. My mom didn't want me to do it, so I ended up in business. I did business for maybe the first 3 years of my professional career where I was a bank manager, and I quit. I loved the managing, I didn't like being just a number. Then I went into retail for a while, because I didn't know what I was doing, and then a mentor came to me, and I entered the field of education. Since I've been in this field, I haven't worked a day in my life. This doesn't feel like work to me. What do I say that? Because today, guys, there's no loyalty to employees. Employees, there's no loyalty to a field anymore, right? That's just the reality. Now, if you find a career you love and you work in it 30 years, bless you, right? More than likely, you may shift careers throughout your lifetime. So what is Jeff about to say about majors? I don't know what he's going to say. Well, don't agonize, right? Find something that you somewhat enjoy. Find something that will somewhat give you a job afterwards, right? Don't agonize so much. I have seen so many people leave high school just miserable because they feel like they have to know everything. Now, the good news is this. We're going to give you so many Naviance assignments and surveys and assessments that you're gonna have a really good sense of yourself by the time it's done. That's why we do the Naviance surveys. By the time you get to your senior year, you'll know your strengths, you'll know your interests, you'll have done some career explorations, and you'll have a clear idea of where you'd like to go. So when we start putting colleges on your application, it's not just, oh, I've heard of this one, I like this one. We'll be very targeted with those schools, okay? College visits. This is the time right now to set them up. If I had an unlimited budget, I'm gonna tell you what I would really love to do. I would take you all on a college tour. We'd take a college tour on the East Coast, we take one on the West, we maybe go up north somewhere. We don't have it. So the best thing you can do is to start mapping out from this year, from right now, all the way through to your senior year, those colleges that you're seriously thinking about, the ones that maybe you're already thinking you want to apply to, and start thinking about a visit. Out-of-state colleges, I can't, obviously I don't know your budget, I don't know your life. You can always go onto college events, do a virtual event, see what they have going, and set up something that way as well. But I highly recommend you visit at least 3 to 4 college campuses, especially those you're very interested in, okay? You've got to make sure that you have a balanced list at the end of this, okay? Typically, I'm going to ask you guys, for those serious college goers, to have 2 to 3 schools that we sort of meet your profile, 1 to 2 schools that maybe reaches for you. I always ask for you to give me some reach schools, because so many students come in my office, I've seen it this year alone, and say, I'm not college material, I can't afford it, I'm just going to go to a community college. Nothing wrong with that. But you're already eliminating options from you. I can't afford it. I keep bumping into this. There are so many college myths that we're going to work on debunking together, okay? One of those is I can't afford it. There are so many schools that will pay for 70, 80, up to 100% of your financial need. I have that list. We're going to talk about it, right? So don't just start with, I can't afford it, or I don't really want to go out of state because I don't know what's out there, or I'm afraid, whatever the case may be. There are a lot of options out of state that are willing to pay for students who meet your profile. So work with me, be open, and make sure that your list is balanced. As I mentioned, college price tags, average.
When you say balance, what do you mean by that?
So the schools that we know we can get into,
Okay.
some REAP schools,
I didn't know.
yep. And then some schools that for sure, nothing's ever for sure, but schools that we know if I apply, I'm gonna get in, and it'll be fine, okay? College price tags, average college tuition today, anyone know? For a private school. We're around $60,000 to $80,000 a year now, okay? Again, even if you have that in the bank, do you really wanna pay them, right? Work with me on balancing your list so that we can get that need met. Trust me on this. I have written recommendations for students that I thought deserved less and got more, simply on how you market that student, okay? We're gonna talk about the common application throughout the process. Anyone know what the common application is? Frankie, you know, right? I'm not gonna put you on the spot. I won't do that just yet. I'm trying to get our seniors in the spirit. The common application is just what it sounds like. It's one application that you can submit for multiple schools. There are also common apps for schools that are Hispanic serving. Historically Black colleges and universities also have a common app, and I think there's one more. So there's various different common apps. Okay. Any questions about those words of wisdom? We're going to focus on the 5 main parts of the application. We missed one, which is the application itself. Juniors, do me a favor, write these 5 down. I want you to do an exercise. Okay, first is application. Second is GPA. And don't worry, this is for you. I want you to, this is for you. Application, GPA, test scores, college recommendation, or teacher recommendation, and essay. I want you to take 60 seconds, and next to that, if this were a pie, 100%, What percentage would you allocate to each if you were an admissions director, reviewing a profile of the importance of each of those parts of the application? So ascribe a percentage to next to each of those. Did we get personal statement? That's it? Yep. And obviously make sure it adds up to 100%. Please do Mr. Fire in service. Your staff teacher. You don't have staff yet.
But that's arithmetic.
It is, right?
It's weighted.
I like you. All right, take 30 more seconds. Just put, it doesn't have to be perfect, just put a percentage next to it. Because what I'm going to do is give you more or less the general consensus of what they're looking for. GPA is about 5%. Now, I am giving you generally speaking. Private schools will vary. IBs definitely will vary. GPA 5%. Applications about 20%. I'm drawing a blank. Test scores. Being generous, about 8%. Which means teacher recommendation and your essay are split generally about 32% each. So juniors, when you look at that pie, what does that tell you about how they're reviewing you? They want to know you, right? So what, Jeff, you mean to tell me that test scores aren't important? I didn't say that. They are still a part of the application, right? But should you agonize 5 or 6 times to take that test? Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you that, right? But what they're looking for, so there are certain things that are just checkbox items because they have so many applicants, right? Your GPA, your test scores. Do you meet our criteria? Beyond that, they want to know who you are. They want to know, do you fit in this institution? That requires you to do inward work, and that also requires you to do research. The worst thing you can possibly do is apply to a school, I'm just going to give a random example, that has no AP classes. They don't have AP classes, obviously, right? But I'm just saying, an example. And you write in your essay, I love this school because of all of your AP classes. That will definitely be thrown out, right? But that's a small example, but it happens, and they are trained to understand and know if you've done any research on their school. So there needs to be specifics that you bake into your application to specific schools. And we'll go through that, okay? So the most important factors that we want to focus on, guys, is marketing you through your essay and the teacher recommendations. Those teacher recommendations are not to be understated. Juniors, trick question, maybe not. How do you get a good teacher recommendation letter? Guys, the reality is, the only way to get a good recommendation letter is what you do starting now, okay? So I want you to really think about what you do starting now as a student. It is easier, I'm telling you, by far, to write a recommendation letter for someone who is engaged. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know the content well. You don't have to get all the answers right. But if you're eager and hungry, they'll write that letter for you. Questions?
So, no.
Okay. Now, the application being 20%, many people don't understand this. we can laugh about it, right? Okay. You've heard about the round file, the trash can, the round file that applications do get thrown into. Do you know any reasons as to why they might get thrown in there? One very simple one that I'm looking for. That actually gets put in a pile at the end, right? If we don't meet our quota, we'll probably go to that pile. Okay, we're getting close.
Just to fill the requirements, right?
Not quite, not quite. We're getting warm though. What's the very first thing written on a test?
Your date.
After that, sorry, maybe after this. What's after the name? Right underneath that. Directions. So if you don't follow directions, I've been in admissions on a high school level for years. Every year we put on the website, at all of our admissions meetings, and in every talk that we do not send us a portfolio. We are not going to read it. You're wasting your time. It is going to go in the trash. Every year, we got at least 20 profiles, or portfolios. Extensive portfolios, sometimes videos, DVDs. They put time in this. We don't want you if you don't follow instructions. Like, we follow instructions. It is a very simple thing, guys. If a college tells you do or don't do something, do or don't do that thing. There's no rocket science there. They say don't submit these things unless we ask for it. Do not submit those things. There is a pile for people who do not follow instructions. And then that makes Anne Frank look bad. And then you cause us to have a bad reputation with these schools. So don't do that, okay? Awesome. The last thing that I'll say on this point is this, guys, is the types of courses you take matter. GPA matters only to the point of the kinds of courses you take. What do you mean? The rigor. So if you take nothing but simple courses, which you don't have that option here, you're not as marketable as the person who takes courses at Northwest Vista, takes on-ramps courses, and challenges themselves throughout their 4 years. So you want to have a variety of courses that you're making sure that you take and that you're doing well in. Don't just take it and not do well, obviously. You need to do well in those courses. So that is what a college admissions director is looking at. Now, if you get a C in a college level course on the high school level, but that you put your effort and energy into, that is a better average than the student who has all A's, because they saw that you were willing to challenge yourself. It is more marketable. Okay, and I've seen it time and time again. Any questions? All right. You also want to think about things that you guys are doing extracurricularly now and community service. That all goes into your resume. So, don't do things for the sake of resume building, but obviously it looks nice when you've been consistent in an activity over the course of your high school career, okay? Or some sort of theme of activity throughout the course of your high school. For students, you need to stay focused on your academics. The year that counts is this year. Your junior year is the one that matters the most for your applications. Why? What grades do they have to look at? They will not get your grades for your senior year until you submit your midterm or final year report, okay? Which they will ask for. So you also want to do well, but the ones that matter in terms of getting into school this year, okay? So make sure you're focusing on your academics. We're going to have that junior meeting with your college advisor. I need you to stay involved in school activities this fall, and that you continue to meet and schedule meetings with college reps this fall. We're going to bring them to campus, guys. It's going to be virtual and in person. There's no reason you should not be meeting with these college reps, okay? Ask questions, get to know the schools. They want to get to know you, okay? Be engaging. There are some schools that will require what's called demonstrated interest. You can demonstrate interest in a school in a variety of ways. Attend an open house, attend an info session if they come to the campus, and sign one of their cards. They want to know that you've shown that you've gone the extra mile to show interest in that school. So if it's a school that you notice on the application, it says we want to make sure that they've shown demonstrated interest, that's what that means, okay? Obviously, you're going to prepare for the ACT in the spring, and you're going to register for that and take it in the spring. We're going to do some college exploration over the fall semester, and of course, visit colleges during the spring and summer. And attend any college fair. So that's the next steps for students. Parents, next steps for you. The best way, and I'm not even going to read from this, I think the best way that you can support your child now, and parents, please don't hate me, don't throw any tomatoes at me. I love the adolescent phase. That's why I got into this field. And many of you are looking at me like, he must be crazy because these adolescents are insane. And they are. There's only one other period in the lifespan that's as crazy as adolescence, and that's infancy. Infancy, your body is going through so many physiological and psychological changes. The same thing is happening in adolescence. The brain is developing. Adolescents are trying to resolve what Eric Erickson calls the who am I crisis. And they're exploring, they're testing boundaries, they're trying different things, they're trying to figure out who they are. What I am simply going to ask for you is your partnership as they go through this very stressful time to just ease up a little bit and let them take the wheel. I'm not saying change, I saw that, I'm not saying change structures in the home, not at all. That is not a license. But in order for them to really truly find their place in college, they're gonna need that support from you now. So the best thing that I can ask for you, if you need someone to vent to, I'm gonna tell you a secret, just call me. Come in my office, we can deal with it there. They don't even have to know, all right? But they need that freedom. I eventually want to become an adolescent family therapist because I really believe transforming the adolescent is transforming the family. Our attitudes and beliefs around adolescence. A lot of what we're seeing is that they're just trying to figure out who they are. And so we want to support in the best ways we can with that exploration. With boundaries, right? Because you need boundaries. We all need boundaries, okay? That is my best advice for you. Beyond that, just have your tax returns done. That's it. So parents, easy for you, right? Any questions about college process? As I mentioned, I want to reserve the rest of this time to talk about QuestBridge, which I'm really excited about. Yes.
I know you said that the weight on transcripts is, you said 8%, and it can change depending on different schools. So
About 5%.
what's that?
About 5%.
About 5, okay. But, you know, I'm taking the case of NYU. Well, everybody they admitted, it's like 8 to 1. So they got a lot of paperwork to read. If they don't, is there a sequence to this? It's like, okay, we'll give it this much weight, but we'll give it that weight first.
So that's a question. When we have a college night, probably in the spring, what I want to do, I'm trying to make nice with some college reps to come in and actually panel discuss with you guys what they look for. I think the best way to learn that is to hear it from them directly. This is what we do. I found that most convicting when I've gone to workshops and there were college reps that were talking about their process. I went to a Ivy League conference, and I tell you guys, I was blown away. And this is what really transformed my philosophy. When they went in and told us the kind of profile they're looking for, if students knew that they qualified more than they thought, they would be applying. After that conference, we had students applying to about the majority of Ivy Leagues. I had a student get accepted to all of the Ivy Leagues. I had a student get accepted into like the majority of them. Like 1 year, we had literally at least a dozen students who got accepted into those. Because we limit ourselves. We think it's just not tangible for us. But my job for you is to build it so that you can see that it is possible. To build a bridge for you to get to that point. And that's what I intend to do. So you need to hear it from them themselves, right? I'm gonna be gung-ho, I'm gonna push you guys, but ultimately, I think if you hear it, you will really start to be a believer too. Good questions. Anything else? Okay, let's spend a few minutes talking about QuestBridge. I'm gonna show you a video and then we'll talk about it. Anyone heard of QuestBridge? Okay. So the reason I'm excited about this is because QuestBridge, remember I mentioned, is one of those early decision binding programs. QuestBridge will pay for everything and then some. These schools, there are about, I think, 42 schools in their current list right now that are amazing schools that are looking for students that meet a certain profile. It is a very competitive process, but the process doesn't weed out students who meet that profile, right? As long as you meet that profile and you really put your best foot forward, you have a really good chance. Now, here's the thing that many people don't know. To get QuestBridge, it's competitive when you apply as a senior. When you start as a junior in the college prep program, it gives you a leg up for your senior year. What does Jeff want? I want my juniors to apply to this college prep program, get accepted, get a $20,000 trip paid to go and spend the summer at a college, one of their college campuses, and learn about the QuestBridge program. So let's take a look at this video, and let's get you guys excited about it.
Hi, my name is Angelique Duron. I'm from Vestal, New York, and I got matched to Yale University.
I am from Duarte, California, and I have matched with Pomona College.
My name is Sarah Abdullahi. I live in Tampa, Florida, and I matched with the University of Virginia.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Ogolo. I'm from Houston, Texas, and I got matched to Stanford.
And I will be attending Princeton University as a Questbridge Scholar.
I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and I matched to Northwestern.
By being a college prep scholar, I gained so much confidence in myself. I finally realized that I really can make it to an amazing top-tier university.
And it finally allowed me to believe a little bit more in myself, to liberate myself more, and to dream a lot bigger.
Questbridge really allowed me to see the potential in myself. Potential that I otherwise would have never seen.
Getting to meet kids that looked like me, had the same background as me, and had the same story as me. And I just can't believe that I was able to tap into these amazing schools, because I never in a million years would have thought that I could go to one of the top schools in the nation.
So please apply, because maybe the College Prep Scholars Program will help you understand who you are and what your purpose is, how you're going to contribute to humanity, and understand that there are absolutely no limits except those that we set for ourselves.
I have met musicians, authors, and activists. I have met change makers. I have met the most loving, caring, and generous group of kids who have continued to persevere against all odds. And I could have such a community only because of the College Prep Scholar Program.
So thank you so much, Questbridge, for believing in me. And I can't be grateful enough for this amazing opportunity.
There is a lot of information in your packet about Questbridge. I just want to highlight a couple of things, and I'm going to leave it to you guys to really dig into this further. Their website has a lot of information. This is the eligibility criteria for the Junior College Prep Scholars Program. Any high school junior, regardless of citizenship, currently attending high school in the U.S. is eligible for the College Prep Scholars Program. Applicants must be high school juniors who are planning to apply to college during the fall of their senior year. There's some academic criteria. Mostly A's in the most challenging courses available. Class rank, top 5 to 10% of graduating class. They have a PSAT or SAT score or ACT composite score that they are looking at, which you can find in the packet. An additional criteria, they require strong writing ability, intellectual spark, and determination through the essays and teacher recommendation. There's a financial qualification, which you guys can look at in the packet. I won't go over that too much. And then they have a factor that's sort of personal circumstance. So many past college prep scholars are among the first generation in their family to attend college. Students who have an unusual level of responsibility, such as part-time jobs to help their parents pay the bills or caring for siblings if their parents are absent or at work. Accomplishments in leadership roles in extracurricular and community activities, strength in character, and motivation to succeed. So there are a variety of different ways that you could fit that criteria. They encourage you to really take a deep dive and look at the criteria and really think about, do you fit the application? The College Prep Scholars Program application is not too intensive, but it will take some time. Just as if you applied as a senior to the Questbridge program, it is an extensive application. So either way you do it, I recommend you start this year. Even if you don't get this and you want to apply for the Questbridge Scholarship your senior year, it puts you at an advantage, okay, to have gone through the process. So it's something I really want you guys to consider. It's something I want to present. I think students should know about it. And I would love to see some students take it seriously and apply. And if you have questions, you can come and see me. We can work on that together. Okay, any questions? Okay. How did tonight feel? I know it was a lot of information I threw at you. I didn't want to bring you out here without giving you some sort of value. Did you get that? Is there value? Okay. Okay. Well, you are free to go if there are no other questions.